Now it's time for the No BS Sports Zone podcast. Come on, family. This is Rob Johnson of the No BS Sports Zone here on Rob Johnson Media. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very good show for you. Monday, October the 12th, 2020. And ladies and gentlemen, point blank, this weekend was just a crazy weekend when it comes to sports and entertainment. Let's start on Sunday, where we just had a tremendous amount of football. I'll go down the line for you guys, give you guys the scores, and I'll give you some reactions to some of the action I saw. Not all the games, but just some of the games from NFL Sunday. We had the Panthers defeating the Atlanta Falcons 23-16. We had the Ravens destroying the Bengals 27-3. Texans beating the Jaguars 30-14. The Las Vegas Raiders with the upset of the Kansas City Chiefs 40-32. The Arizona Cardinals defeating the New York Jets 30-10. We had the Steelers beating the Eagles 38-29. The Rams going into DC and beating the Washington football team 30-10. The Dolphins absolutely destroying the 49ers 43-17. We had the Dallas Cowboys win their game against the New York Giants 37-34. We had the Seattle Seahawks win 27-26 over the Minnesota Vikings. Tonight we have the LA Chargers going against the Saints. And then tomorrow night we have the Buffalo Bills going against Tennessee because of the COVID-19 situation and all that. Getting back to Sunday, just some of my reactions. I'm going to give you, just like I said, a few observations, things that I saw from yesterday that maybe a lot of people aren't touching on. First of all, Teddy Bridgewater, I understand it was against Atlanta, but 27 of 37 for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no Christian McCaffrey. Mike Davis was the leading rusher yesterday for the Carolina Panthers. He had 16 carries for 89 yards. Mike Davis was a 2015 fourth rounder out of South Carolina, so that's big for them that they can possibly have that two-headed monster at running back. Something else that I saw was the Las Vegas Raiders. I was very impressed how they went to Kansas City. They executed a great game plan. It looked like the Las Vegas Raiders actually outcoached the Kansas City Chiefs, which is very hard to say when you're dealing with the Andy Reid team. They were outcoached, but it looks like that's how it was done yesterday. Also go to the LA Rams against the Washington football team. LA once again dominates the NFC East team, which seems like everybody's doing to that division these days. You look at the Alex Smith situation. He came into the game. He relieved Kyle Allen, who sustained an injury. Kyle Allen was 9 of 13, 74 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he ran for a touchdown. Alex Smith, 9 of 17 for 37 yards. Here's the key, though. Alex Smith was sacked 6 times. If you're the Washington football team, I know that he is still owed some money. I understand that he is a guy that is loved in the organization. I'm a huge Alex Smith fan, former #1 pick out of Utah. But at the same time, man, you cannot bring this guy back into the lineup. I don't think you can. You don't have the line. You have Terry McLaurin and what else? It's a bad situation right now. You have a young team, needs to be helping coach Dwayne Haskins. That's what I feel. I feel that if they were smart, which is very hard for me to say about the Washington organization a lot of times, even after the name change, even after Coach Rivera comes in, get Alex Smith to mentor young Dwayne Haskins. Haskins has talent, but we all know that things in the NFL come down to money, and Alex Smith is owed a lot of money, so they're not going to do that. They're not going to do right by Dwayne Haskins. They're not going to do right by their football team. They're just going to continue to be bad and possibly pick in the top 5 next year. So you have talent on offense, I believe, that you can take advantage of. Yeah, your offensive line is suspect, but a lot of teams' offensive lines are suspect right now. Teams are beat up. This is a war of attrition, stomping themselves down. They're a football team that is still not what it needs to be. They're still an organization that they aspire to be better, but the results are showing that they're still the same Washington football team, Washington Redskins, whatever. Name change, great, but still the same results. So we'll see if they can finally get their act together, hopefully soon. So next topic, let's talk about what happened in Dallas yesterday with the Dallas Cowboys defeating the New York Giants 37-34. Not the not the most important topic was the score, but what happened to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott suffered a very bad injury to his ankle, a compound fracture, and he cried while he was leaving out of the stadium. He raised his fist. He seemed very emotional, which of course anybody would. I've heard a lot of talk today about the contract, and he should have signed this, he should have signed that. I want everyone to think about something here. You think about telling another man what he needs to do with his future. You tell another man or woman what they need to do or how much money they need to take. Put yourself in that position. See, what you need to understand about the National Football League is it stands for not for long, because a lot of people don't stay there for long. And you see what happened yesterday. Speaking of Washington football team, look at Alex Smith. Alex Smith was riding high before he got hurt against the Houston Texans. You look at other guys in the past or people who've been injured, and it's really devastated them. It's brought their value down. You're a second away from a torn ACL. You're a second away from breaking a bone. You're a second away from doing this or doing that. And in a collision sport like football, you need to get paid. You need to make your money. Stephen A. Smith brought up a great point about Tony Romo. They paid Tony Romo, which I completely agree with. Tony Romo got a huge contract from Dallas. And at the time, he was 32 years old. Dak Prescott is younger. I feel that he has a brighter future. I feel that he can possibly even bring a Super Bowl to Dallas. But what happened yesterday was just a sad situation. It was a situation where if you are the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to have to evaluate things. You're going to have to see, what you're going to do in the future. Is Dak going to come back and be the same guy? Now, let's be honest here. Nobody owes you anything. I think that a lot of people are doubting the Cowboys now, what they can do the rest of the season. I personally believe Andy Dalton, that he's a good quarterback. I believe that, coming in the way he did yesterday and playing the way he did was, it was quite good. It was quite good. So if you're Andy Dalton, what you have to do now is you have to look at it as this is your opportunity. What can you do? Do I think Dallas will win a Super Bowl this year? No. Do I think they can still win the NFC East, possibly a playoff game? I think that. So if you're Andy Dalton, you're auditioning right now, because if Dak comes back, of course they're going to want Dak back. But what they can do in this situation and what they can benefit from is something I've been saying Dallas needs to do all season. They need to run the football more, get Ezekiel Elliott the ball more, let him feast on teams more. They have plenty of help. They've got plenty of receivers. I know a lot of people have said you need to go ahead and trade Michael Gallup for a piece. I don't think you trade Michael Gallup. I think Gallup is very good. The guy that really needs to step up is Amari Cooper. He gets opportunities, he makes the plays, but he doesn't make them consistently. So you have three weapons in Gallup. You've got Lamb and you've got Cooper. You keep those weapons. You got Schultz as a tight end who is really, really doing well right now. Jarwin gets back, that's going to be a 1-2 punch that is going to be devastating on the league. But going back to Dak, yeah, they need to give Dak what he deserves. And if, like I said before, if you're Andy Dalton needs to take this opportunity by the throat. He was with Cincinnati all those years, did not win a playoff game, went to the playoffs 5 straight years. What can you do, Andy Dalton, to improve your stock to get another job in this league? Because I think Andy can still play. He just needs to prove himself on this big stage with these weapons. If he can't prove it here with this team, with these weapons, then his future looks bleak. And that's just all I got to say about that one. So, next topic, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. And boy, oh boy, did the Los Angeles Lakers come out last night and put their foot on the neck of the Miami Heat. The Lakers won 106-93. This was LeBron James' 4th championship. This was also the first championship in the coronation, Anthony Davis. Now, he had 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 assists. But I don't want to talk about that. If you are a true basketball aficionado, if you are a true basketball head, and you actually were to go back, if you didn't see the game last night, or if you watched bits and pieces, I dare you to go back and watch the entire game. Watch the entire game with a coach, a former defensive coach. Sit somebody down with you who's been a defensive coach, or somebody who is very proficient with defense in the game of basketball, and they'll tell you how great of a performance not only last night was, but and has been through the bubble and the playoffs with Anthony Davis, with his ability to change the game. He changed shots last night. Look at Rondo, the things he did coming off the bench. You look at Caldwell Pope, the things that he did. Caruso with his defense. They played straight defense last night. And the anchor being Anthony Davis. LeBron James is no longer at that level where I think he can still play elite defense, but now on a consistent level. Anthony Davis plays consistent, great defense. And he has off nights, and you notice on those off nights they lose. You look back at Game 5, he was a little bit hobbled. When Anthony Davis is not playing Anthony Davis basketball, especially on the defensive end, they struggle. LeBron James had 40 in the first in Game 5, but it did not equate to a win. Why? Because I feel like LeBron was trying to do it all on his own. LeBron James is great when he facilitates. When you are a guy in LeBron James and you have 28 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, and last night he just played lockdown defense. You know, he was able to take all that energy. He was able to say, this is Game 6. We're up 3-2. I'm going to put all my energy into this game, and I'm going to make sure that the Miami Heat are going back packing down I-95 down to Miami, and we're going to head back to Los Angeles. That was his goal, and you just knew after Game 5 that the Los Angeles Lakers were not going to lose, because let's be frank, if they lost Game 6, Miami was going to win Game 7, especially with Goran Dragic. He came back last night, and he was rusty. However, I felt like his 18 minutes last night hit the rust off. So what happens next? He comes back Game 7. He plays well. He scores 15 instead of 5, and those 15 points are huge for the Miami Heat if they could have got to a Game 7. But the Lakers were never going to let these guys get to a Game 7. Let's just be honest. So if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, it's your 17th championship now. You tie the Boston Celtics. You have Anthony Davis, LeBron James. You have Rondo. You have Caldwell Pope. You still have Caruso. You have Kuzma. You have Markieff Morris, Dwight Howard if you want to resign him. A guy like Quinn Cook, who I think can still put up good shots and do good things. I mean, only 27 years old. So they have a lot of good pieces. And it's going to depend on the offseason what they want to do, especially if they want to move Kyle Kuzma for a piece who I don't really know what Kyle Kuzma's value is at this point, but I'm pretty sure you could get a shooter. And that's the thing. That's all the Lakers need. They need a guy that can shoot, play defense. Shoot, play defense. If you can shoot and play defense, you can play with LeBron James any day of the week. So that's one thing that I look forward to if the Los Angeles Lakers want to move some pieces around, maybe bring some other shooters in as they try to maybe go for the 2, maybe the 3-peat. If they get a 3-peat, then at that point LeBron James would be at 6 championships, and he would be under Mount Rushmore. He would start getting to that conversation. And if he gets to 7, that's a whole nother conversation. We won't have that right now because I'm, like you guys, getting a little sick and tired of the whole MJ and LeBron comparison. Let LeBron live. Let him have his shine as we speak. But when his career is over, I will definitely have that conversation if he gets some more championships under his belt. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about some baseball. Just quick on baseball. Last night, the Tampa Bay Rays defeated the Houston Astros 2-1 after the Rays defeated the Yankees in a hard-fought game the other night. The Atlanta Braves will be playing the LA Dodgers tonight at 8:08 p.m. So it's going to be a really good game. I think that the Dodgers have the edge. Everyone knows I'm a Braves fan growing up, but we have to be honest here. We can't be fake. My team is my team, but we're being honest. And right now, the Dodgers, in my opinion, are just a better team. And I feel that they will take this series and they will eventually play the Rays. I was going to pick Houston, but the Rays are just too good. And actually, in my preseason rankings, I had the Rays and the Dodgers 1-2, Tampa being 2, LA being 1. So both teams playing well right now. The Rays pitching is off the charts. You don't know a lot of names from the Rays, but however, they are just a team personified. The Dodgers are that big name. So a lot of people will look at it as a David versus Goliath type situation when these two, I feel, will meet up in the World Series. However, it's a lot closer than you think. When you don't look at the names, you actually look at the talent levels and see what these teams actually have. Next topic we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the top 25. I'm going to give you guys the rankings from 25 down to 1. Now, with the Big Ten coming back soon and the Pac-12 coming back soon, some of the teams have not played yet, but they are in the rankings, so I'll give them to you 25 through 1. Starting at number 25, we have USC, Minnesota, Virginia Tech, Kansas State, University of Louisiana Lafayette, Iowa State, Michigan, Tennessee, SMU, Wisconsin, Auburn, BYU, Miami, Oregon, Texas A&M. At number 10, we have Florida. Number 9, Penn State. Number 8, Cincinnati. Number 7, Oklahoma State. Number 6, Ohio State. Number 5, North Carolina. Number 4, Notre Dame. Number 3, Georgia. Number 2, Alabama. And number 1, the Clemson Tigers. Just to give you guys some perspective, if you look at this, especially the top 10, most impressive team over the weekend, it wasn't Texas A&M because Florida's defense is just absolutely atrocious at this point. So I cannot give it to Texas A&M, and I call them the frauds for a reason because they're going to find a way to screw this up. The most impressive team of the weekend was easily Clemson. Trevor Lawrence is a man personified. Travis Etienne, he is a man. They are going to go into the draft next year, and it wouldn't shock me if both were in the top 10. That's how good they are. The Clemson defense is just absolutely nasty. The momentum, everything. You go back and look at that game against the Miami Hurricanes. Even though Miami blocked the kick at the end of the first half, ran it back 21-10, it didn't matter. Clemson did not let Miami even sniff any momentum when it came to that game. They are well coached from their defensive line, their offensive line, every position. And it doesn't matter if you're the second, the third string, the fourth string. You better be prepared to play football when you play for Dabo Swinney. And this Clemson team is very good, and I don't think they've even reached their peak yet. Very talented group, and I believe that they will be your national champions. They're going to have some competition at the end of the season. I know they got Notre Dame coming up, but I just feel that they're just a better team. They're just better than everyone right now. You look at Alabama giving up 48 points to Ole Miss. They had to score 63 just to win. I believe that Clemson is a year older, with Trevor Lawrence being where he is, where Travis Etienne being where he is, seeing what that defense is. Brett Venables is just a master when it comes to defense and scheming you up. Miami could not do anything. Derek King been shredding people, couldn't do a thing against that Clemson defense. So when it comes to college football, I look at a team like Clemson to get to where they need to get to play for a national championship. But even a team like North Carolina, which I mentioned earlier, with Sam Howell, they have a good team. They just have to learn how to play with a lead, which they should have. They should not have let Virginia Tech score 45, but they did a good job in defeating Virginia Tech as they were up early. Let Virginia Tech come back a little bit, but still beat them 56-45. Talking about another one of the games that happened this weekend, which was a complete thriller, was Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River Shootout. The rivalry of all rivalries. 53-45, Oklahoma defeats Texas. When you look at a team like Oklahoma, the things that they've done the first couple of weeks, when you lose to Kansas State and you lose to Iowa State, Texas barely holding on against Texas Tech. Then you lose Texas loses last week at home to TCU in a game that I watched and just couldn't believe the things that Texas was doing on the field. Huge win for Oklahoma here. It gets them back into the mix a little bit. They will not be contending for any national championships, but they can get back into the Big 12 race. Just a great game for both teams. A little disappointing with how they're doing things right now, both on the defensive side, but we've had an unusual year, so we hope that those teams can get back to playing their standard football. But overall, great Saturday, great Sunday. Last thing I wanted to say was rest in peace to Joe Morgan. I remember watching you and John Miller on Sunday nights baseball. call just some great games, call some great games for other networks. Just a baseball legend, just a guy who knew the game. And every time I heard barrel of the bat, that's all I could think about. Rest in peace, Mr. Joe Morgan. Sir, you rest in peace. Everyone have a great day here from the No BS Sports Zone and Rob Johnson Media. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys next time.